John and Ken Show. John Cobalt and Ken Champeau, KFI, AM 640, more stimulating talk radio.
We told you it would take a while. This is not a good thing. To really begin to see the toll of Jerry Brown and the legislature's AB 109, the prisoner realignment plan, which went into effect in October of 2011. But it takes a while to actually start to see the reports of the increase in crime and some of the people that are doing it. And while they keep putting out press releases claiming it's not an early release program, effectively it is. There's a California state senator, Republican named Jim Nielsen, who put out a press release. And he says, claiming it's not an early release program is deceptive. Realignment changed penalties and the level of parole supervision for most felons convicted after November 1st of 2011, shifting the responsibility for tens of thousands of felons to counties where jail space is already filled to capacity, and changed the definition of who qualifies for community service programs. Realignment does authorize the early release of the felons.
The simple way to explain it
and that's
is,
because they end up under county supervision, whereas we just mentioned they don't have the capacity to do much with them, so they have to leave them on the streets.
Well, it's simple math. If there's too many people in the state prisons, they shove them out the door, force them into the county jails. Well, now the county jails have too many people, so they have to shove out some of their prisoners out onto the streets.
When they come before a judge, the judge just, they'll give them a sentence if it's a parole violation, whatever, but it gets reduced because of we went through this with Lee Bakker. Remember the whole thing, John, with Paris Hilton and how we ended up there reducing her jail time to like a day? And nobody really cared about that part, but the point was made that this is what they effectively have to do because they've got crowded prisons too. And he writes, convicted felons now sentenced to county supervision instead of state prisons include career drug dealers, commercial burglars, habitual auto and ID thieves, and the last one is the killer. Criminals with long criminal histories, including felonies that involved assault and firearms. Because, again, they go by, like, the last crime.
Right. They don't look at the long rap sheet. It's judged by the last crime, and this allows these idiot blockheads from Jerry Brown and everybody else in the legislature to say, hey, we're not releasing dangerous felons. Why, he's a low-level felon because, look, he just stole a car. That was his last crime. He didn't kill anybody. Well, he may have killed somebody 10 years ago and gotten out, but that's not counted. That's why you have these guys now. They're raping and killing. And in Fontana alone, we just had Rod Jones on, the Fontana police chief. Burglaries are up 20%. Violent crimes up 9%. All dating back to the day they started shoving prisoners out of the state prisons. Another part in this press release from State Senator Jim Nielsen, the Supreme Court did not order realignment. They did not order the state to reduce sentences. They did not order the state to shift these prisoners to the county. The state could easily have built more state prisons.
Yeah,
they
we
passed
talked about
a bill
this
years ago authorizing the borrowing of the money. Instead, we're borrowing the money for that nutty high-speed train system, and we're not spending the money to house prisoners so that you don't have these rapes and murders that we've been chronicling the last few weeks.
Yeah, that's a good point. They're floating all that bond money for the crazy boondoggle, the brown doggle. But they're not floating any bond money to make sure these bad guys are in prison. Because, again, you have to be bad to be in a state prison. I mean, because the prison's overcrowded, they knew this for years. They resisted sending people to state prison. And now they're trying to reduce the inmate population by foisting them on the counties. Nielsen also writes, starting July 1st, most parole revocation proceedings will be conducted before a judge in a county superior court, where the maximum penalty will be 90 days in jail instead of 365 days in prison. And keep in mind the terminology, jail means county, prison means state. Okay, do you get that? Due to overcrowding of county jails, some counties have not incarcerated parole violators at all. Some of the criminals who have averted parole revocation have committed horrific crimes, such as Jerome de Avila of Stockton, who robbed, raped, and murdered his grandmother. I think we talked about that story, too.
Yeah, no, increasingly there's more and more stories. So when you hear some clever witticism from Jerry Brown saying that it's the counties that are causing this problem, he's a bald-headed liar. He caused this problem. The Democratic legislature caused this problem. Any murders or rapes that we chronicle here are the direct result of Jerry Brown's decision to empty out the prisons and shove them to the county jails. And the county jailers have no choice but to shove other people out into the street. It's simple. They're trying to put 10 pounds into a 5-pound bag, and some of the poo is going to get squeezed out of the bottom end.
Oh, nice. All right, when we come back, another chapter in the saga of the Dorner reward money. They also released the 911 call that couple, the Reynolds, made after they were tied up by Dorner. Coming up.